Hey everyone, welcome back to another Godzilla Battle Line video, and today we're doing our tier list stream, so we have a bunch of tier lists ready to go. We got chat is mobilized, putting in their opinions, so let's get it going. We're going to go in alphabetical order like we did last time, so starting with Airbase, ending with Mothra Leo. Mothra Leo is not alphabetical order. Now we're in alphabetical order. Let's get this tier list going. We got everyone on stream, we got all these comments going out, so let's get it started with Airbase. Thoughts on Airbase? Not very good. Airbase sucks. I should specify, and I don't think I made this clarified to chat earlier, that I'm doing a tier list for PvP right now, but after this we're going to clear it and we're going to do it again for the new game mode. I know everyone has had their hands on the new game mode, so we're going to do a game mode tier list as well. But everyone is saying D tier for the airbase, and I am inclined to agree. Right now, the facilities are not very good in the game. They definitely need a huge buff somewhere or another. Even Mechagodzilla's passive leader ability cannot help them. So, Anguirus is next. Now, I think Anguirus is D tier. But that's a lie. I wanted to say C tier, but y'all in the chat just keep putting D in the chat, and it's confusing me. But Anguirus, I think, is C tier. He's a good tank for beginners. So if you're just starting out and you're gonna have Anguirus by default, he's really good. Thank you for the follow, J Killer. I really appreciate it, and welcome to the tier list stream. I hope you're having fun. So I lost my train of thought. Anguirus is really good for beginning players. But as you unlock more characters and as you progress in your ranks, he's going to fall off. C tier. And for any newcomers, we judge the evolution units separately, so not as one. Mothra Larva, I think, is a C tier. I think Mothra Larva takes a little too long to evolve, and his damage is like whatever, but I wouldn't necessarily say Mothra Larva is a D tier. I think Mothra Larva is C. Hey, Atheon from Discord, happy to be here. Welcome, we're love to have you. Mothra is C. Mothra Larva B minus. C. C tier, we're keeping it. Now, Mothra himself, I think, is a B. Mothra Larva, you're the first streamer to notice me. I notice everybody in chat. Don't say I never did nothing for you. But Mothra is B tier. I think Mothra is actually really good flying unit. This season, especially, there's a lot of good flying units, a lot of good flying decks, and Mothra is seeing a ton of play. I've been seeing more Mothra than I have ever before, so I think B tier is appropriate. I think Biolante Flower Beast is C tier as well. I don't think Biolante's first form is very good. She's good in the water, but I don't think she's good anywhere real else. Do you agree with me on that one? I got a Mothra as A. I got a B tier. C, not that good. Yeah, Bioflower C. Now, this, I think, is going to be our first big point of contention. Is Biolante Plant Beast form. So I think the Plant Beast form is at least a B tier, but I think an argument can be made for A tier. I think Biolante is really good. I just don't think she's at that level yet. I think she's a really solid B tier. Flower Beast form is A. We have a B or an A. Yours is level 1. We got someone voting for Terrestrius already. Lucas Gator voting for Terrestrius. We ain't even there yet, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. I'm going to keep Biolante in B. Bioplant Beast is a great unit. I would say A. I don't know about Plant Beast. Haven't played her yet. I think she is decent on the field, but I've never come across a Biolante on the field that's killed me, if that makes sense. But she's really cheap, and she has really good range. I'm going to keep her at B tier. Stealth Bomber, D. A lot of people have been telling me that they really thought Stealth Bomber was overpowered even in the beginning of the game. Maybe Stealth Bomber was really good in beta, but I never remember a time where Stealth Bomber was really like taking over the meta at all. Just it was more of a nuisance or a distraction, especially when Destroy Larva was big. So D tier, very high D tier. Yeah, the Bomber straight to D, straight to D. Dimension Tide also D. I should have like a Dimension Tide tier. Dimension Tide's not that good. S- tier, or S tier for sure. Bomber bad. Very high D, 6 cost, very bad. Yeah, I think the stealth bomber would be fine if the cost was lower to like maybe 4 energy. I think would be really solid. But as it stands now, oh, I'm sorry. I think we're talking about Dimension Tide. I was on the bomber for a second, but I think Dimension Tide should be cheaper for sure. Dimension Tide, literally, if they kept the Dimension Tide stats the same but made it like a 2 cost, I think it would be fine. I still don't think it would see too much play though. Energy Collector, I think, is A tier. First A tier of the night. Energy Collector is a brain dead item. You just drop it on the field and you collect energy. I don't want to put it on S tier because a lot of people are saying that it guarantees wins. I am not in that camp of belief that it just guarantees you a win. But it is definitely at a high level of play, constantly on the field. So I think, with all due respect to Echan and his hate for Energy Collector, I think I'm going to have to put it in the A tier. Next up is Geigen. You also give it an A? I can attest to that. Alright, so Geigen is next. What are we thinking about Geigen? I have no strong opinions on Geigen. I was going to put him in B tier. I see 1 vote for Geigen in B. Geigen I would put as maybe a C tier. Except right now in the game, Space Godzilla is seeing a ton of play. And Geigen is going to go straight for those crystals and start taking them down. Which you can say is a detriment to Geigen. But also at the speed Geigen travels, he can clear those crystals relatively fast. B or C, C, B, B, C. C, I think, yeah. So, I'll go with the C tier. I didn't think Geigen is deserving of B tier. I think he's like an average character. But C tier, I think for sure. Downside of Geigen is he's attacking all the crystals, and he's going straight for the leader or facilities, and he's not really helping your team do a big push. He's kind of a lone wolf. Kind of along the same lines of Stealth Bomber, except Geigen I think is way more effective. Godzilla Terrestris. I think Godzilla Terrestris is a B tier post nerf. I think he's decent. I don't think he's as good as he was, but I still think that he has good survivability. Are we considering leaders or units or just leaders as well? So, J Killer, we're doing, this is a tier list for units strictly on the field for PvP. Then we're going to do units on the field for the new game mode. Then we're going to do leaders, and then we're going to do combos. Terrestrius B seems unanimous. Who says A tier? S for him as a leader? Oh, Geigen. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. It's decided it's B. C tier isn't useful. Yeah, right now C tier is like, you can have them, but they're not going to help you. Controversial pick right here. I think y'all have a lot to say about this. I think Godzilla 21 is an S tier unit. Y'all talk me out of it, but I think he's an S tier unit. Strictly based on his damage scaling, period. Like, even at a low rank, if you have too much going on and you cannot stop Godzilla 21, he's just going to run through your entire health. S tier, no question. He either needs an absolute insane nerf or something to take him out of S tier, because the way his passive works, he's just the best. B for 2021, Manila stops him, tanks stop him, any swarms stop him. He's way too easily counterable. That is a good position to take. That he's very easily counterable. And you know what, Nostalgia, you actually have a lot of very valid opinions about this game as well. Very strong opinions. His potential is insane in the right situation. He's sadly countered to stun. Yeah, okay, so A tier. I think we can maybe all agree A tier, or like the top of A tier on the cusp of S. He's just so easily counterable. Manila Swarm, Space Godzilla Laugh, G21 doesn't need a buff. No, I think he's amazing the way he is. Now, for the true S tier, G89. No contest. I don't think Chad is going to have anything to say about this, but G89 is the toppest of tiers. B tier is so easy counters. King of the Monsters, G89, easy S tier. Even with the fact that he can't hit anything in the sky, his health alone is S tier. Not to mention his damage on the field ridiculous. G89 fat S, big S, yeah, S sometimes countered by Manila. Listen, he's counterable. Every unit in the game, especially right now in this meta, is counterable. But G89 is just a tier above the rest. I really should just make a tier 4 Godzilla 89 specifically. Suffers the same problems as 2021 though. Manila's stun like Sim Swarms, no air defense, basically freezes in place with its Sunday or Mega. I have used my 89 against Manilas and against Swarms, and he has walked out with nothing. It takes so much to take a G89 down. I truly believe if no one else on this list, G89 is S tier. I still think Ultima is S tier too. But he is a little slower, and he's still easy to counter now. I'm not sure I want to keep him in S tier. I believe he is, but I also want to say he is A. Because this season, it is really easy to get around him. Caesar is really good against him now. Space Godzilla's crystals keep Ultima busy all day. It truly is... You know, I think him and I think Ultima and 21 are probably the closest, like, just on the cusp of S tier. I think that Ultima could be S tier, but I don't know. I think there's something that needs to change. Last time I thought you were talking about Ultima, but Treasures is B and Ultima is A. Yeah, Ultima is A, not enough for S yet. Oh my gosh. Well, I agree, 89 is most potential S tier, but like I said, I don't think any unit is S tier, as there is nothing like Ghidorah or Mechagodzilla from, yeah, so there is nothing like how we had last season where it was just overwhelming power. However, I do think that this is the most balanced season we've had, and there are definitely some units that shine more than others. Like Godzilla 89 is pretty much a mainstay in 90% of the decks, and the 10% of the decks that don't have him on the field, like half of those are, he's the leader. I think 89 for sure deserves the S tier. I think an argument can be made for these two, though. Hedera flying form, C. And I think there's going to be a trend where most of the evolution units are probably in the C tier. But I think a Hedera flying form is decent. I think an argument could be made for Hedera in the D tier. But I'm going to say C tier, because I like Hedera. And I like that he has this perpetual poison gas cloud. It's good against swarms. It's good against anything that can't hit in the air. But he is really easy to take down. One Ultima shot can hit him. Anything in the air can take him down. I don't necessarily think he's like the worst thing in the game, but he is slow. It gets him to evolve, and he has the nice toxic fumes. I'm going to leave him in C, but there doesn't look like there's any rebuttal to that. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Hedera. And I want to put Hedera in B tier. I believe in my heart of hearts, Hedera is A tier still. But I think B tier just for the fact that he can hit multiple units, and that's great for countering Space Godzilla's crystals. And any units that are using the crystals. Hedera is B because he can take care of Space Godzilla's crystals very well. Hedera flying form, I'm sorry, but he's only good for taking down low-level swarms and stuff. Hedera is B. C, Hedera stage 2, solid B. B, B, B. Yep, okay. We're all in agreement. I think Hedera, maybe with a little bit more damage, could be an A tier. But as it stands right now, he is not. So, I'm glad we could come up on that unanimously. Jet Jaguar, A tier easy. I think Jet Jaguar is definitely still A. I don't really think his position in the meta has changed at all. I think he's just as effective. Jet Jaguar has definitely fallen off. I don't think so. His range is a little lower, but he does the same amount of damage. He eats the same amount of shots. He's the same speed. The only thing that's different is his range. But he can... Okay, so instead of him taking down a swarm in one hit, it's two, but... I mean, I think Jet Jaguar is just as good. I'm gonna stand firm on that Jet Jaguar is just as good as he was last season. And it was an S, but it definitely is not B. Take care of him pretty easy with flying units and Ultima. Yeah, exactly. Like, he can be taken care of pretty easily, but like I said, his position isn't changing at all. He was still in this position last season too. Anything that could counter him then is countering him now, and anything that wasn't countering him then is not countering him now. So he really is the most stable unit that we've had. I don't have that much for him. He's okay, I guess. Okay, yep. Now we're on the swarms, the 2 swarms. I think that Kamacuras is still a good B tier option. I think that the 3-pack Kamacuras is good. They're not great. They're really good for beginners. And I think an argument can be made for them to be a good distraction or Space Godzilla counter. But I don't necessarily believe that they are lower than B. They're just decent. They're like really middle ground. Like B tier is like the middlest of grounds. I think Kamacuras falls there. I think, however, the Kamacuras Swarm though is C tier. It's a little too expensive. Yeah, they're good distraction, but they're not doing enough damage. I think I would rather any day run the 3 than the 5 Kamacuras. Kamacuras are C tier, Swarm is D tier. All they're good for is body blocking, and even they get taken out by Ghidorah and Jaguar. It's true. Kamacuras are A for you. Like there's always any for a fast cycle deck. Yeah. I agree. I mean, they're good for fast cycle decks. They're good for beginners. I think an argument could be made for Kamacuras in C, or Kamacuras Swarm in the C tier. They are very expensive. G21 is B tier and Battery is A tier. Well, we moved on, but I am taking that into consideration for maybe the next one. You dare. But I think maybe I could put Kamacuras Swarm in the D tier, and no one's really using them. King Caesar, on the other hand, I think is A tier. Let me hear the arguments, because I know there's gonna be some B tier and some A tier naysayers. I think King Caesar is an amazing unit. I think at a high level he performs exceptionally well. His rush kills like everything for the most part. I wanted that Anguirus. Never got his nerf. Anguirus was nerfed so hard after the first season. G21 is so easily counter. He gets countered way too easily. Caesar kicks down evolution units A tier, so much damage on his charge. Okay, yeah, an argument can be made then for B, since after his charge he's pretty useless, right? Wouldn't you say? You have him for the charge is expunged, and then he dies, and then you're 4 energy out. King Caesar has a lot of value due to Crystal Forest. King Caesar also gets stopped by the Crystal Forest, so you have to take that into consideration as well. Now, King Ghidorah, I think, has definitely fallen off. I think post-range nerf for King Ghidorah, he's not doing as much as he was doing before. I think that he's just counterable on all fronts. We have 1 vote for King Ghidorah as the A tier. Do I hear any other A tier King Ghidorah arguments other than Giant Rookie? King Ghidorah is A. He's still beefy flyer and the best AoE. King Ghidorah is B. We have 2A and 2B. I'm one of those Bs. Because I think King Ghidorah could be A tier, but I don't really know if he's worth it. King Ghidorah is A, but still has good AoE. Well, there's a majority vote on A. And you know what? There's a majority of you in here. This is not just about me. It's a community stream. So, King Ghidorah A tier. Kong. I'm thinking about putting Kong in C tier because I don't think he's totally useless. I think an argument can be made for Kong in the B. I just think he's not seeing a lot of play. I think Kong is getting... We're not giving Kong the benefit of the doubt. We're just not playing him because we can't get pieces for him. But I bet you if Kong was a 3-star, he would be on the field every game. Because of him at level 5, he's a beast. I think Kong's at least a B. I think if it was easier to get 4 stars, Kong would be A. He would be on the field constantly, because he's like a miniature version of Godzilla 89. He's really solid in terms of his stats are like good, but there's other units that do what he does better. Like G89, it does everything Kong does except a billion times better. But I bet you if Kong was level 3, we would be using him just the same amount. Kong level 5 is a monster better than Ultima. See, I ran up against a Kong today that absolutely nuked my Ultima. I think Kong's definitely underutilized, and at a high level, I'm not even gonna say very high, like at level 6, I think you're gonna see some great success with Kong, because he's just G89. So especially if you're using G89 as your leader and you have a high level Kong, throw Kong in there, hit him with the G89 buff, you're golden. He's gonna just nuke people. Great for beginners. Solid HP, not that good higher up. I can see that. We'll keep Monkey at B. Destroy a Larva, D tier. They were good for beginners. Not very good anymore in the high tier play. Nothing real more to say about that, and they don't evolve into Destroyer Perfect form. So we're going to cap that at D tier. I don't really think I'm going to see any strong arguments for that, because y'all are still talking about Kong. Big fat D tier. Alright. Alright, now I know if Echan is here, he's going to have strong opinions on Markalite Cannon. I think Markalite Cannon is a C tier. You can, listen, you can use it and you can get 2 solid attacks on like a G89 or a Ghidorah, but you're only getting 2 attacks and for 5 energy. I don't think it's worth it. I definitely don't think it's a D tier, because if you can have it in your back, it's just going to crush whatever's in front of it. But you're only getting 2 attacks for 5 energy. I would rather have literally anything else on my team. Markalite doesn't need a buff. No, I think Markalite is good where it is. I think if we wanted a human meta, Markalite would need a buff. Bomber and the 2 bases would need a buff, and the M-Bot would need a buff. But talking about needing a buff, the M-Bot base D tier, straight to the gutter. Garbage. Not worth it. The M-Bots themselves, I'll put them in D tier. I would give them C tier because I really like their freeze, except Manila does what they do better, and each one of these things dies in like 1 or 2 hits depending on the level that they're at, and it's just not enough. Like, they're good, they're lasting for 1 hit. I would like to see their health increased, and then maybe their cost increased by 1, and then increase their health, and I think they would be pretty solid, especially for beginners. I think beginners should run M-Bot. I don't think, if you hit like level 35 in the arena, like rank 35, take it out. Mechagodzilla, though, I think Mechagodzilla is A tier. Mechagodzilla has really solid stats all around, really good anti-air. I'm going to say A tier. I really like him. I think he's really good on the field. I don't think he's a B tier. I think Mechagodzilla is an A tier. I think he's nice health pool and one of the best anti-air damage in the game, period. Yeah, okay. I see a unanimous A tiers for Mechagodzilla. Love it. Speaking of A tiers, I think Megaguirus this season is A tier, 100%. Dare I say S tier, but I don't think she's S tier worthy. I think she's A tier. Her slow is so good. Her slow is so good. She's definitely getting the A tier. Her slow is good. Her cost is good. Her damage is great. Her health is great. You love to see it. Now, is Manila getting S tier treatment? Or is he A tier? Because she's an amazing counter Jaguar G89. no Manila S tier. I think Manila is A tier for sure. Like, without a doubt, Manila is A. Manila is Z tier. B tier for Manila. Some guy, some emote, I don't even know what that is. X59 truth meme. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Manila's A. We'll keep Manila in A. S tier missiles though? No, I'm playing. Missiles are not really good this season either. Listen, you see a huge, there's a trend between this bottom row, and with the exception of these two, everything is a human thing. Definitely a channel, I hate to admit it, he does skirt S tier, the fact 2 cost can solo an 89 under the right circumstances. Yeah. Manila is a very strong unit. His slow is the best slow in the game, period. Now, talking about falling off, I think Moguera is a C tier. I think after he was kneecapped with his nerf, he's not as good as he was before. I think Moguera had the potential at one point to be the best unit in the game because he has the best movement in the game where you can just drop him anywhere. but those days are over. So C tier, and it looks like y'all agree with me. Mothra Larva. I want to say Mothra Larva is D tier, but she has a slow. So if a unit is close enough, she can give them a slow, but by the time they're that close, they're going to kill her. So it doesn't matter. Your level 2 Kong is better than your level 19 Missile Strike. Listen, I'm telling you, Kong is good. People just been sleeping on him. Mothra Larva is way better than Mothra Larva. Okay, well then we're moving on to actual Mothra. I think Mothra Normal is a B. I don't think she's good enough to be A. I think an argument can be made for C. B minus, B, Mothra Imago. Yeah, I'm going to leave her in a... we're at a C tier, so we have a B, a B minus, and a C. We got another B. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I see her run a lot, even post-nerf. She gets paired a lot with King Ghidorah or normal or Batra Imago, and she just becomes like really hard to deal with, especially because she can hit multiple targets at once. Now, Mothra Leo, I've been having trouble with. I've been using him. Mine is level 3. And I almost want to say Mothra Leo is a C tier. And I want to say that because, yes, he's very fast. But once you use up his rush, he does, like, not very much damage, if any. And mine gets murked. It's strange. It's like, his damage is good. I don't think his damage is as good as King Caesar. I think he could be a little bit better. He's King Caesar but flies, but I don't know. I have not been having success with him. Mine's level 3. Leo's charge only does double damage, while Casey does triple damage, just a worse flying. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. No, I think Leo's... I've been using Leo last week to complete the challenges, and I've been using him a little this week. And I even was using him in the new game mode, and I know that's not what we're talking about right now, but he's not been helping me as much as I thought he would be. He attacks too slow, has no health, and little damage. Yep. Next is Rodan. I gotta get a better PNG of Rodan. But I think Rodan is a B tier this season. It's still too early to see what tier it is. No. We've had Mothra Leo now for half a month. And we normally do these tier lists about half a month in. We rated Jaguar, Kong, Ultima, and we rated G21 at a time like this. Plus, now everyone in the game, if you have the Battle Pass, so a good healthy portion of the game, has at least Mothra Leo at 1 star. Or level 1. Rodan did get a buff. I don't think he got a buff. I think... No, he did. Rodan got something done to him, but I don't remember what it was. Half a month already? Yeah. We got Mothra Leo at the beginning of September. It's September 14th. Tomorrow's the 15th. There's like 30 days of September, right? It's half a month. Rodan is high B. He helps so much in fights. He's cheap. Yeah, I think Rodan is good. Rodan's good at a B tier. Space Godzilla, though, A tier. Very strong argument for S tier this season. I would say he's S tier this season, personally. I've seen tons of success with Space Godzilla this season. I think his crystals are no joke, especially when you can get a ton of them on the field all at once. Back-to-back-to-back Crystal Forest. It's just monstrous. He's reduced from 5 to 4. I think Rodan's was reduced. I don't remember. Space S tier is a good buffing unit. Yeah, so I think... Okay, so here's a fair... I'm going to make a point, and I want to see if y'all agree with me on this. Space Godzilla is good. Space Godzilla is an A tier. Space Godzilla with the 2 crystals makes him an S tier. And if any unit on this list is in range of those crystals, they get bumped up 1 tier. Every unit in A tier immediately becomes S tier when they're in range of that buff. Am I wrong? Because we're not using Space Godzilla because he's an insane damage dealer. We're using Space Godzilla because of his buff. Hedera can counter him easily, yeah, with the crystals. Train Bomb is C tier. We're not even on the trains yet. Space Godzilla itself is A or B. Space Godzilla, I think himself is A. But when you drop those 2 crystals on the field, I think he becomes S. And I think anyone around him moves up 1 tier on the list, just based on the damage you get with them, and then how long the crystals are alive for. The crystals are up for 25 seconds, but you get a new crystal every 9 seconds. You get 2 new crystals every 9 seconds. So if you have Space Godzilla just alive, he's just pumping it out. A tier. All right, me and one other are in the camp for S. Everyone else is saying A. Community tier list, we'll put him in A. Especially got the buff and the love he needed in this game. I agree 100%. I think he's one of the best units in the game right now. For sure. I don't think he's essential in the deck, because you can definitely win without him. But when you are running him, he's really, really powerful. Chorus is D. We would just have the last 3 here. Kind of garbage units. Chorus is D. I think the trains are also D. And I think the freeze is D as well. There was an argument made for C for the trains. Would you like to clarify on the train statement? Because I do not think that they do enough. Actually, you know what? I'll say trains are C for the one fact that they are cheap and you can use them to instantly kill the energy collector. Are you going to order each tier? I did it in alphabetical order. What do you mean? Train's B tier, best effect unit in the game. Sometimes mainly for E collector. Usually sometimes shuts them down and doubles damage. Very good for end of the fight. I say train is C because energy collector is the meta. I would say D tier, but because it's really good at specifically taking down energy collector, it's going to get C. But I don't think it's really going to be that effective against anyone else up here. For sure. They can take care of energy collector and they can take care of the Space Godzilla's crystals. The crystals will come back. So you're going to use that energy on crystals that are coming back in like a few seconds. Used it a lot in your deck early last season. I'm saying it's C, and that seems to be a consensus, it looks like. So this is our first list. So this is for the... I'm going to hit save and download on that. This is for the units on the field list. Let's hit save. There we go. Cool, 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 cool. So can we go back? I think it's saved. Alright, whatever. But this is the tier list. Y'all see it. We all agree with it. So, Twitch, don't go anywhere. We're getting on to the next list. And that's going to be just a second.